Look, we young and we fly, don't act so surprised. We on the move and we working. We stay on our grind, Milwaukee gon' shine. When we gon' move with a purpose. 414, you already know, on the way to the top and it ain't no stopping. We got the keys, we got the tea, reporting to you live with all the hot topics. 414, ay, be the wolf pack, 25-8, we gonna get to the bag. We some youngers on a mission, and this is just the beginning. We on a whole other level, and you know that we winning.
Yo. Happy Monday.
What's
up,
y'all? What up?
I'm Don.
Hello? Is my mic
It's
on?
Jew.
Toe, is my mic on?
Yeah, you on.
Oh, okay. Making sure.
It's your turn. It's on you.
Oh, I'm Shawnee. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
It's E. What's up, y'all?
It's April 26th. We back. Our second episode in April. No, I'm tweaking.
It's It is April.
This is our
26th.
third episode this
Yeah.
month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotta take a break one day.
Oh yeah.
It's our second, right? I was right. Second
yeah.
episode
Sorry,
this
y'all.
month. But we hitting Monday.
It's Monday. We discombobulated.
Right,
We hitting y'all
y'all.
with some goodies. How y'all
Hey,
feeling?
Simone.
I'm alive, man. I'm here. Monday.
It's Monday, y'all. It's finals week for me, so.
Ooh.
It
that's what I said.
was, and then they got pushed
Double
back
time.
again.
Finals
So
week.
it's 2 weeks in, but I'm gonna finish them though. So thank you. How y'all been now? How y'all been?
I'm cool. It's Monday. I'm tired, but I'm excited to talk to y'all, talk to our audience.
Yeah, we got a serious topic today. Our topic of the show is Stop Killing Us. Talking about the police brutality and all the recent killings and stuff going on and the stuff that I feel like stigmatizes the black community.
I just did what the
Y'all
sign
just
did,
get
huh?
used to that. Every episode is gonna happen.
I'm trying to check these comments, but yeah, we talking about Black Lives Matter, police brutality, all that, and we want to just open a dialogue and get y'all feedback, y'all comments, what y'all feel about everything with the trial, with it's a whole lot. We're gonna get all into it
Get
today.
a round of applause for that. For the guilty verdict
Oh,
on what's his name, David Chauvin.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot
We got
we
a
had
guilty
that.
verdict,
Oh,
Derek.
dude, we ain't even gotta say buddy name.
We ain't gonna get him no clout today. So.
Yeah, Boosie said he wish he was in Louisiana so he can send them booty warriors.
We ain't gotta talk
Oh, my
about that.
goodness.
But
We starting off wild on this episode. Y'all ain't no
y'all
filter,
bear with
okay?
us. Bear with us today.
Not the
So.
booty warriors.
But yeah, hopefully this is the start to something positive, like a positive change, and holding all of these officers accountable. Because I swear, I feel like they just be getting away with it, or when they do it, it's like they do it with the conscience of knowing like the worst that's gonna happen is they gonna get laid off work, and I feel like that's not cool. Because anybody else, like any other person on the street that do it, they pretty much know, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to jail for a minute, or, you know, it's going to be, like, a bigger, like, consequence.
Yeah. But I'm tired of even having to think about holding them accountable. Like, it don't even need to be happening, but, like, it's a whole system, so we got to get to the root and then just get everything changed. Like, I know a lot of people say we don't need police, but it's way deeper than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I was watching this interview E had sent me, and the Dr. Umar Johnson, he was just, what he was saying was, like, making sense. Like, that, like, he was talking about, like, a police officer killing a black person, period, or that should be seen as a hate crime. Like, because, like, y'all in, like, a position to where y'all definitely know better, or y'all got more tools to, like, detain people without that even being an option. So, like, I was definitely looking at that, and then I was, like, he said something else, just talking about, like, how, it's something about, I gotta look it up, I had put it in my notes, but he was talking about, something, qualified immunity. It's like,
Oh yeah.
like when they, like, it's like when that type of stuff happen and then they do like those payouts to like people families and stuff like that, like that stuff don't come out of the taxpayers pocket, so that don't like come out of like the police or they pension or nothing like that. So it's like, it's not really, sometimes it can't really be seen, or it can't be seen as a victory for us if we still paying for it. Like,
Right, because the people in the middle class and in the poor communities that's getting killed the most are the ones that's paying the higher percentage of taxes, you know, from their salaries.
Yeah.
And that money getting recycled for
Facts.
funerals. Like, that's crazy.
That's
Just
wild.
for funerals. And then people don't even have the money to bury they, you know what I'm saying, they loved ones. Like, these is crazy situations people are put in, and like, you don't really know.
And my
Like,
thing
it's
is-
like an anxiety in our community.
And it's like, even with the money, like with George Floyd, like, yes, we got a guilty verdict, but it's like, that's still that's a life, you know, it's priceless. So.
Yeah, and then I was seeing a lot of speculation on even like the charges that he got, like, because like what did he, like, what is it, like,
It-
second degree, or
It was third degree.
Third
And
degree,
it was
so-
a manslaughter charge. So basically, like, the police, when they are charged, they never go to jail as if, you know,
Like,
I get a murder charge for killing you on the street. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm going to get 25 plus. They never getting that amount. So even when they get a guilty verdict, they getting, you know what I'm saying, they not going to never be able to be a police officer again. Might have a bad stay in jail, but they not going to be in there too long.
Yeah, and that's what they were saying. Like, even if he was to get maybe like 10 to 15 years, we all know how that work. Like, with good time, he might be out before then or whatever. So it's like, it still kind of feel like, okay, this kind of, it's just like a watered down victory. Like, just something to kind of like suppress what we feel right now, to just like
Appease the black
yeah,
community.
just to appease us. But it just be seeming like. And then what I can say is, it feel like every time we kind of feel like it's like a tug of war. Like, it's like every time we feel like, oh, we got the upper hand, or we making some type of traction, it be feeling like, okay, 5 more police shootings. Like, that's literally damn near what just happened. Like,
Every single time.
And if I'm not mistaken, I read an article, like I was watching on TV, that they're talking about like the qualified immunity, and basically what that does is it takes, when, like, say for instance something like a police officer did something and the family wants to sue, instead of suing the police department, it would make it where the police officer who did the crime can get sued. And they were saying how, like, the Democrats were going for that because it puts more accountability on the police officers, and the Republicans, they were trying to say, no, it's other ways to do it. Honestly, I feel like if you making the police officer account for his actions and he can't fall back on the department, he gonna think twice about pulling the trigger for anything that he do, whether it's a violent crime, a domestic crime, or anything. He's gonna think twice about anything because he knows it's a possibility that he can be, you know, punished for that. And I think we need that. We do.
It's a reason those laws not in place. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, and they did that for a reason.
So, like you spoke on the Dr. Umar Breakfast Club interview. Like, the part that I found that was interesting was the part where he talked about basically how they won't get in trouble either way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, even in this sense, like, it's not really stopping anything. So it's gonna be like a continued cycle for that one guy that's going to jail. It was a crazy percentage I saw, like the amount of cops that's convicted
Versus
against the cops that, you know, get let off the hook, or they out here just catching bodies and they get to go to work.
And those just be the ones we hear about.
Oh,
like,
right.
with the ones we hear about in the news. And then I think it was a statistic you mentioned earlier before we went live. And just knowing that it's so many, like, police killings that's happening frequently that we never hear about.
Yep, the Science American magazine, they posted an article in 2019, and it said in the United States, police officers fatally shoot about 3 people per day on average. Let me repeat that. In the United States, police officers fatally shoot about 3 people per day on average.
But
That's crazy. Like,
but that's probably like a skew stat too.
Exactly. That's what
way
get
more
reported.
than
Yep.
that. It's probably way more than that. And like,
and the fact that I probably believe two out of them 3 people was black.
oh man,
Like that.
and it's white people getting killed. But like, one of the big things I think about too is like, we don't even see that. So one of the things they training us to be is desensitized to even seeing it.
Yep.
And they want you to stop caring about it. That's why we see it so much.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They,
'cause-
like, the media and how that's controlled. Like, it's videos of white people dying probably from the cops or being abused by the cops, but it's not going to be pushed and shared as much as a black kid.
because that's gonna be what's really gonna wake up and make them want to start taking action.
And
Like,
I didn't know who said it or what I heard it from, but somebody was like, "It ain't gonna be no change to white kids dying."
yeah,
And I believe that they not gonna.
And that's what-
it's nothing gonna change it to some white kids that's getting killed. These white women getting killed.
And
Not
that's
to be
what-
like that,
That's
but
what they was talking about on a Breakfast Club,
Yeah.
though, too. Like, he was saying, saying that, like, in that, like, even with that situation with that girl, she had the knife and stuff like that. They said, like, in that situation, how does that officer retaliate? Or like,
but my thing is, he said he was afraid. Why are you afraid of a child?
I mean, it's a knife,
child,
but
a knife.
But I mean, at the same time, like
I work in a school where it's grown people scared of sixth graders that's still 4 feet something like.
But I get that he
like
was
the
afraid
white people
and all that stuff. But it was like,
white. I'm talking about white people being scared of black people in general. Kids, adults, women, men. It don't matter.
And then it was people trying to justify like she had a knife, she was the aggressor, she still didn't deserve to die. Bro, I don't care what nobody say.
I don't care what nobody say.
No,
whether
bro.
she was the aggressor or
even
not.
that thing that just happened in Kenosha, didn't that boy? He was walking around with the big gun and everything.
He actually killed people.
Yeah, right. And he killed people, but he didn't get. They didn't shoot him. They didn't kill him. Like, he had people trying to pay. Didn't he get bonded out by somebody? Like, somebody
we need
paid
to
his
have a
bond.
black cop on the show.
We do.
I know a couple.
Too.
I know some too. I haven't had these conversations with them though.
I definitely want to hear their perspective on just like how it feels to be.
I talked to, they always was like, well, you know, not every cop is bad. And I'm like, I get it, but like,
that's the line we don't need to hear though. I need to hear more about like what's they plan to help change the system, because it's obviously like how we talk about the guy in Kenosha. It's just clear cut. It's not set up for white people to fill our jails. They make those seats and those cells is made for us. You know what I'm saying? Like the way our schools are ran goes right into that.
It's like a pipe. Like it's a pipeline,
school to prison pipeline, and on top of that, the drug. You know what I'm saying? Convictions is outweighed in the black community.
The war on drugs was just
directed
just
straight towards us. Everybody loves Snowfall, but that's the story that it's telling. You know what I'm saying?
Really,
like,
it really
how
is.
messed up our community is, and everybody hate Alton, but like he was fight. Like if y'all know what I'm talking about,
Snowfall.
You know what I'm saying?
I love
Snowfall is Franklin dad. Alton is Franklin dad, and he basically snitched because he was tired of seeing his community.
Spoiler alert! Y'all, sorry. Spoiler alert!
It's at the end of the season. Y'all got to catch up. He was tired. You know, he was tired of seeing South Central LA be crack infested and just go to a bad place, like a bad. I don't know. Everything was bad. Crackheads everywhere.
Yeah, he was tired of it infesting his community.
Affected by that.
Yeah, and I love Snowfall. Like I know it's telling a real story, but like the way they do it, I really feel like it take you back to like, okay, this is how it really happened. It give you a picture of like how bad the crack epidemic was and how it really affected our black communities and how we still probably are struggling from that today, whether we know or not. That's still in our community. We got never. I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna ruffle some feathers, but I ain't gonna say that.
It's a lot of new age crack stuff going on too with these pills and stuff like that. It's a lot of people hooked on that more than anything right now. And I mean, I know people. I got somebody that is very close to me that has been on something like that his whole life. So it's just like to see that. The community going towards that spiral, and that's like that's what's being promoted and stuff like that. Like I don't know how we get off that curve. Like,
I think the one thing that we need to do when it comes to like drugs and like reoffenders is they think the justice system is using prison and jail as a way to help them, but that's not really doing anything. You just putting a crackhead in jail and expecting them to come out. Okay, they need resources. They need health, mental health. They need the counseling. The rehab. They need that stuff. They need more reformative ways to get people out. Because just sending somebody to jail for a crime about drugs is not going to solve the issue if they don't get that help that they really need. So
that's what every crime that they put us in there for. And then also, I don't know. It's frustrating because it's like. I used to be so upset, like, the system is broken, but, like, it was never designed for us to win. Right. So it's like, it's not broken, it's working exactly
how it wanted. You know what I'm saying? When they made the Constitution, black people was not included at all.
So I got a question for y'all. Where, I don't want none of my followers to get mad. None of my, you know what I'm saying? I don't want y'all to, get offended. A lot of people went out and voted. You know what I'm saying? And where does this change start at? Because the Asian hate crime thing got answered real quick by the government, by Joe Biden, right? And that's another thing Dr. Umar talked about.
Yeah, it's how he appeasing all of these other like big groups, but this been going on for the longest.
The LGBTQ
The
plus
trans
community,
yeah.
they getting laws passed for them, you know what I'm saying, or to protect them as well. And we are being like thrown to the side and neglected. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I didn't go vote for Joe for this very reason. Like, you got to show me. So, like, we ain't got to talk about that part, the politics part, but, like, where does that change start? Like, we can't even get it from the president. How do we really, like, get to the root of trying to fix this problem of, like, the system holding our whole race of people back?
Well, one thing that I know personally that I did research, like, when I was at school, I had to do, like, a lot of policy advocating and all that stuff. So, where my school is located, the local elections were heavily involved in my school, so that's why I was able to get immersed into local stuff. But when you think about it, a lot of people, we just vote when it's the president, or, you know, when they have, like, the circuit judge, you know, elections, or, like, local elections that you really don't hear about.
Matter the most.
They matter the most. Like, them the ones that affect your streets, your schooling, what grocery store, you know, the local elections, the city elections, the northeastern elections, those elections are ones that we really need to pay attention to. But I know me personally, a lot of my friends, they don't even know nothing about it. They don't know who their circuit judge is or who their alderman is. You know, some people do, and I'm glad that we do have those, but not everybody. And I feel like if a lot of people get more educated, or there are more resources to educate those, so they can know, like, okay, I feel like it needs to be more simplified. A lot of this stuff is complicated, so a lot of people can't understand it.
I feel like a lot of people are not educated enough to really know, like, what these policies mean and stuff like that. Or a lot of times it just be seeming like they be selling hope, like just like or they just be telling, like, just even most presidents, they get in there, they be like, oh yeah, well, we gonna do this and that, but they never really do it. So it's like, I get what you mean, but I feel like it got to start at a smaller scale.
We
like,
gotta work our way up. Like, we gotta start from, like, you gotta start where your city, your town, your city, your state, then the president, because it's a lot of law. Like, for example, it's national, federally it's illegal, but state-wise it's not. So, depending on where you live at. So, like, a lot of state laws might apply, but a lot of federal laws might not. So, it has to do a lot with local government that people have to pay more attention to.
I feel like that's crazy though, just knowing that the president do got that much power. I feel like it shouldn't be like that, but yeah.
I think beyond the, like, political responsibility and all that, like, I'm real big on, like, individual growth, like opportunities, creating opportunities for people to learn and understand the world we live in. And I think we're doing a great job. Specifically, I can speak about Milwaukee at meeting people where they are, going into certain neighborhoods, having conversations with people, educating them, creating space for them to share their stories. Because at the end of the day, all of this is internal. Like, what we go through on a day-to-day basis as Black people, it weighs heavy on us. So being able to understand it on a deeper level is very critical, in my opinion. And I think, so when we talk about change and talk about getting to where we want to get as Black people, politics plays a huge role in that, as far as electing young Black leaders. Because how things were 50 years ago, things have shifted significantly. And I think we got to do a lot of reevaluating, a lot of passing the torch, and creating space for young leaders to step into these roles, and make an impact on the world from our lens, our perspective, the things that we've been through, and get wisdom. And we have to be, as young people, we have to be willing to listen, learn, and be educated by, you know, older adults who have been in these positions far longer than we've been alive. So I think a lot of it starts within, like, understanding, educating ourselves, meeting people where they are, people who don't have the same resources and knowledge or access to that knowledge as we do. Because people are so quick to count the Black community out, like, we ain't never gonna get nowhere because y'all don't do this, or y'all don't support Black business. But it's like,
It's deeper than that.
It's a whole system. Like it's a whole system that's created for us to stay down. And if we don't start to shift our perspective and our mindset on all of this, we not gonna get nowhere. So it's like, for me individually, like I used to be so caught up in like wanting to be a part of the change that I see in the world, but I'm like, if I could start with myself and then start with my community, or and then follow that up with my community, and the state that I live in, and just keep going further and further and impacting as many people as possible. And if we all doing that, we all surrounding ourselves with like-minded people on that same journey of just impacting the world. Like, my love yourself message may seem like real minuscule to this larger issue, but like, self-love plays a huge role in how we feel about ourselves, because if we allow the news, what we see them killing us every day, to determine how we look at ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, how we move in the world every day, then we're not going to get where we want to go. But if we can look in the mirror every day and tell ourselves we love ourselves, and we're going to keep pushing, we're going to keep going despite what's being done to us and our people, like, we can continue to move forward. And I see amazing people. Like, shout out to all the people in Milwaukee that's been working hard. Like, I'm rambling now, but like I'm real passionate about this work, and I'm so grateful we having this conversation. People in the comments, shout out to JoJo Pod. She said thanks to the Wolfpack for having this discussion. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer to your question, Ju, but I definitely think we need to continue to look at ourselves and figure out our role in this fight. All of us have a role in this fight, whether you believe it or not. You may not be an activist out here full time, but you got a role. You got a role in the fight.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I think last summer during the pandemic was like my first time really like actively getting out and protesting, and I feel like that was crazy. Like, it just felt different. Like, it felt different actually being like out there around the energy and stuff like that. Like, it's different from being at home seeing it going on. But like, bro, like when you out there and you really feel like you gotta be heard. Like, everybody marching here, they cutting the roads off, everything. Like, it just feels that's a different type of energy. Like, I remember when we was right there, like on right there by District 5 or whatever. That was crazy. That was the first one I had participated in, and I think we just walked in like a fat like square or something like that. But by the time we got back around by District 5, all the police was outside, so like they knew like oh yeah, they ain't playing. And then like, I think the next day the road was painted with Black Lives Matter. Like, I mean, it's just crazy, like, when it's really like something that everybody just believe in. Like, this is something serious that I feel like it affect everybody. So it's like, it's just crazy, like, what lengths that everybody will go to just to be heard. And I feel like I wish that it would happen more frequently than just when something bad is going on. Like,
not being reactive.
Yeah, like, it just that's another thing. I feel like everybody only like wake up to it to when it's like, or something negative going on in the media. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, it's definitely some people that's always on it and stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of the time, like, we only be having the advocates and stuff like that when it's just like some trauma attached to it.
It definitely give you hope being out there in the streets, like hands-on, involved in the movement. And like I was saying, roles, like some people role is to be out there in the streets. Some people is to print out the lit to make sure we give in all the right information. Exactly. It's so many different roles. Like, I would remember vividly when I was like 16 or 17 years old, every single week, Tuesday nights, we'll be out on 27th and Burleigh? I can't remember. I'm getting old now. But right in the, deep in Burleigh, just marching to end the violence. Like, we just, like, it was so much violence going on at the time, and every week we would get out there, van load of young people. We were super young, and we would just circle up and pray with the people in the community. And they would come up, mothers like who lost their children would just be crying and praying with us, and we would just hold them up, because it's so much trauma. Like, people don't understand where like these the violent acts and things like that, where it come from. It's so much deeper. And if we give people grace and be patient and do our best to understand, I feel like we can continue to get further as a people. Just having respect for ourselves and respect for each other can go a long way.
Yeah. I got another thought-provoking question. So, like, I marched too, you know what I'm saying, and I protested, but not a lot. So, like, now, we not a year We're not even a full year back, and it's been crazy shootings, crazy killings in Milwaukee, in our own city. You know what I'm saying? Again, after the pain we felt last summer, after the pain we felt with Seville, and like all kind of different, like we done lost friends. Like us right here at this table, we done lost so much and so many friends. You know what I'm saying? I just lost one of my good friends, Andre. You know what I'm saying? This year in 2021 already. And my question is, how do we get out of like, where do we go wrong with marching and protesting? Like, where do we get our answers from? Because like I feel like we riot or like we protest and we march, and then that energy, our city still got that same energy. We still got that dark cloud over us after all of the work we did last summer. You know what I'm saying? And like leading into the fall, like everybody, Frank Nitty walked people all the way to DC. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of work that goes into those things, but let's look at how many like over 50 years we've been marching and rioting, and like we not getting the answers we need.
Facts. And I can be honest with you, like I was saying, I've been out here since I was 15, 16 years old, and I'm old now. And I just feel like people's intentions don't be in the right place. It's become a social media fad to post your pictures of you at a a rally or a protest, or any type of thing that's related to this kind of work. Like social justice is a photo op at this point. And when we get to a place where we're ready to reset our intentions and get out there for the right reasons and actually have a plan, because honestly, if I'm being transparent on this podcast right now, every single day when we first started marching after George Floyd and everything during the pandemic, I was out there every day. Like me and my friends, I was like, I'm going out here every day. And then I started to realize, like, and no shade to the people that's out there protesting, but we started to lose track of, like, we lost focus, because it was just like, wait, what are we out here for? Like, people started, just kind of doing things to deter us away from what we were really out there for. And then people have conversations about, the looting and the rioting and things like that. And that's not even my biggest issue or concern. It's just like, I would see people walk up to folks like, okay, what are we out here protesting for? And nobody got the answers. Like, people just doing it for fun, like legit. And then you got people infiltrating, like in the crowd, causing issues, causing problems. And it's just like, wow. It became unorganized, and I think as a community we have to hold folks accountable. I think one of the biggest issues that we have in Milwaukee on every aspect when it comes to nonprofit work, social justice work, individual work, community-based work, the biggest problem in Milwaukee, in my opinion, is lack of accountability. It's people in Milwaukee that's walking around who have harmed so many people in this community, and they just kicking it, living their best life, and nobody holding them accountable. It's people who cause issues within the social justice movement, and nothing happens, and people don't hold them accountable. And so, due to your question around just kind of like, what are we doing wrong? I think we not holding people accountable, and we not refocusing and making sure we understand why are we fighting? What does this work for? What is the ultimate goal? That's my perspective.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I kind of just feel like what you said, like after a couple days or a couple times being out there, it just felt like it kind of felt like something to do. Like it didn't it felt like something to do. Like everybody seen, like, for example, I know like one or the two times that I was out there, it was like the traffic afterwards, like people was enjoying that more than anything, like just being in that long heaping line of cars, trying to keep up with that, just because like I be feeling like we be talking about that too. It just don't be nothing to do in the city that people feel
lack
like
of resources. I think that's another thing, lack of resources.
It don't be nothing to do in the city, so I just feel like people be jumping on that, like, okay, let's get out here because everybody else out here, like y'all not out here for the actual reason. So, I mean, I feel like more people need to take it serious too. I'm
not even saying like how to fix protesting. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like the fact that it's not working. Like, what do we do next?
Instead,
No, I that's I'm feel you, but that's what I'm just saying. Like, it's like
it's hard to look at.
That's a hard. Like, it's so much that we could. You know what I'm saying? It's like. That's a good question because
like
I don't even know the answer.
Like, you feel like it need to be like an evolved form of protesting. Like, do you think we passed the getting out and marching? And
I mean, I feel like very few people know what goes on behind the scenes. Like, I got pulled into the meetings with folks who actually prepare these protests and work hard, and still every single day till this day they still working and meeting every day to make. Like, a few weeks ago I had pulled up to the location where they met up, and all they was doing was passing out information in the neighborhood so that people knew what different events that's coming up, whether it be like court cases or something like that around these issues. Like, they like keeping people informed. So there are people in the back end doing more work than just out here protesting. But it's like, how can more people be engaged in that piece? Like, engaged in educating the community. And like, huge shout out to people like Urban Underground, True School, like organizations that's educating our young people, and they doing significant work as well. It's like, I feel like we also have a lack of collaboration in Milwaukee, people coming together towards these issues. You got a bunch of different silos and people working separately, which turns into them working against each other rather than coming together and working for each other.
And then, like a thing we say, like, Milwaukee's so small, but then again, it's so big. So maybe some of these people don't even know. Like, I feel like what you said with them passing out the information, that's good, because a lot of people don't know. You can't help but participate in, like, these, not even just a protest, but anything that has to do with social reform. If you don't know about it, you don't know what's going on, how can you help? So I feel like putting the word out and, us, like you said, coming together, collaboration, that's another thing. We have to work together. A lot of us black people, we are more, like, fend for ourselves. In our race, that's how we are. You come up on your own, but I feel like as a whole, we all need to come together. This is a time for, we can't fix this issue. One person, 10 people can't fix this issue. All of us, everybody across the United States, black people have to come together. Every state has to come together to make a bigger reform and get the results that we want.
Do y'all think it'll ever be a time where we fully like back the police again, like fully have that trust in them, like with protecting us?
Nah.
We never trusted them.
Well,
me personally, I never trusted the police.
Well,
they blew that.
Well, yeah.
Joe said it's a no for me.
And even if we can hold every police officer accountable for what they do, if every time a police officer they wrongly shoot at somebody and they got convicted every time, I still feel like we wouldn't trust them because it's like it took so long to get there.
Or if it just like repeatedly happened, that's like somebody saying sorry and just like doing
gaslighting.
The same thing over again. Like that's.
I don't believe in police. I believe in community policing, and that's why I shout out to Von Mays who do Program the Parks after what happened with Seville, like really pulling together the community to support our young people instead of calling the police, making sure adults were available to hold them accountable for their actions. So we rather have adults in our own community hold them accountable versus seeing them on the news losing their life because we wasn't there. So
yeah, because I don't got no trust.
And I think these police officers, whether they need to get retrained on like their de-escalation practices, because like a lot of these people, they just been getting shot, like, and ain't no talking to them or it's just like y'all pull out y'all gun. Like,
I feel like a lot of these officers are scared, and I feel like that shouldn't be. I don't know, like, because in the last couple situations, like. With that girl, he just reached for his gun, and then like with the other lady, she said she thought she reached for her taser, but she reached for a gun. So it's just like
a gun and a taser don't even look alike. Like,
I mean, what I'm getting is like either they be too scared or they just knowing that they gonna get away with it, so they not even really thinking twice. They just reaching for what they think is the best in that type of situation.
What impact does all of this have on y'all personally, like your mental health, like hearing about this stuff on a daily basis, being black when you leave out the house every day? What impact do it have on you as an individual?
It's like numbing. Like it's really, I don't know for how long. I kind of feel desensitized. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of this stuff is normal, and I just be like, dang, another person. Like, it be hitting on a different level because it'd be like, well, dang, she was close to my age, he was my age, or something. Like, that's what I feel like. If anything, that's what hurt the most. Is just knowing like this person ain't even scratched the surface of their potential, or ain't even really reaching like the peak life expectancy. Like, you just getting took out the game before you even really like started. So I feel like that's what hurt me more. But I'm more. I don't know. It just seems like I'm numb, and it's like at this point it's just like I'm tired because like they tell us the same thing, and we just keep on moving forward. Like keep on moving forward. Like he was talking about that on Breakfast Club too, just talking about like how the George Floyd police reform thing, or her Nancy Pelosi was trying to make something like a law or something like that, but he was saying like it just ain't had no teeth in it. Like, it wasn't really nothing that was gonna stop it from happening again. So it's like it just be seeming like they just be doing stuff just to chill us out for the moment. Like, it's nothing that's really gonna change. So I don't know. I feel like I'm more tired than anything.
It affected me in two ways. One, like, not even just with police brutality, but like with just like the news in general. Like, I had to censor myself. Like, I hadn't, like, I don't watch the, like, I watch the news, of course, but like on like when I first wake up, no, I'm not turning on the news. Like, I have to literally like intentionally go to the news and figure out what's going on, because it was affecting my mental health. Like, every time I look on the news, somebody either getting shot or all these people dying from coronavirus. So like that stuff, like, I had to literally like, Deshaun, you cannot keep doing, you can't keep putting all this information in my head and it's messing me up later. I'm having dreams about this stuff, you know. And then it also created fear because I have like a lot of male cousins. I have a lot of males in my life. My cousins, my parents, whether my boyfriend, like, so it's like I'm worried about if they ever get pulled over by the police, what's gonna happen. Like, I remember one time I was on the phone with my boyfriend. He actually got pulled over, and he was like, he pulled him over for a messed up reason. But I'm like, don't even argue with. Like, I'm like, I was about to have a panic attack. I'm like, don't even argue with him. Just take the ticket, because I'm like, it don't matter what you can say. In that moment, he has control over your life. So whether it was a bogus ticket or not, just take it. Just take it. Just end that encounter so you could pull off and go. Like, it was just to the point where, like, if anybody that I know get put up by the police and they're black, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and
I'm afraid. If I see a police car on the street, I get nervous. You tense up.
It's so much trauma with that. It's like, even when you see a police car behind you, it's like your whole body stiffens.
In front
even
of me,
if you ain't done nothing wrong.
Even if you ain't done nothing wrong,
your place could be good. You could be your lights could be good. Everything. You
got insurance and all.
Like, you see a police, and it's just like every time I see a police, I get like a nervous feeling. Like, it's like that feeling you get in your body. Yeah, and I don't. Like, and that really affects me.
It's like a deer caught in headlights, literally. Because I swear, like, I done been in situations where I'm driving and somebody else, like, like somebody around me is gonna get pulled over, and the police, like, they turn their sirens on and they go after them, and you just kind of like you just
still
stuck.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like that's the craziest thing. Like, we don't look at them as no type of like, we don't look at them as a safe haven.
No, I look at them as like, is this my time? Like the police. I feel like a lot of black people, when we see the police, we don't see nothing positive at all.
Have y'all seen that movie on Netflix, Two Distant Strangers?
No.
I heard about it,
man,
but I don't know. I've been trying to stay away from the stuff that just be like.
What have y'all watched them? Like, I've been like when y'all said like the trauma.
I'm done with it.
Like the trauma feels like I'm
creative genius.
Yeah, I'm choosing not to watch them.
And like when I watched them, like, it made me mad because it's like, what? Okay, we already know how black people was living back in the day, with slavery and just like the Jim Crow laws. We know all of that. So it's like, why every time I look on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, it's a trauma feel. Like,
because that's for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, white people not going to watch some movies.
Two Distant Strangers.
I mean, they are, but like, it's not. I think media is all put out to program, even like the good stuff. So like the information we get that's good is put there to help us in a way. So like, what's the point of making a show like them? What's the point of making
I feel like it's no point.
Queen and Slim. You know what I'm saying?
We always ask,
why can't we be entertained with just pure goofiness? There are no black Beavis and Buttheads. You know what I'm saying? Or like,
We probably do have some. They just ain't been given the
Kyle and
opportunity.
Umar go to White Castle. Like, where the black movies like that? They just dumb movies or like movies that's just straight entertainment. Like ours always gotta have some
underlying
Or
Some
like
black
like
person
message.
dying or something. I just don't like it. Just them.
And I mean, it is like it's definitely movies like that, but like
But
as
nowhere
of
near
late,
as
the ones
many.
that are bigger, the ones that blow up, and we talking about they being made by like the black producers and black directors, where we like, okay, they give us 2 good films and they great, and then it's like, damn, all they make is black trauma movies now.
Yeah,
Or
that's
shows.
definitely what it been seeming like I've been seeing in that dim or that's what it's called.
Yeah, them. It's
Bro,
on
I ain't
Amazon.
like that.
I saw
didn't
the
like it at all.
trailer and I
Bro,
knew I wasn't
bro,
going.
I didn't like
Did
it
you
at
see the
all.
trailer for Two Distant Strangers?
I don't know what that is.
And I didn't. I stumbled upon it on accident. Like I just kind of clicked on. It's a very short film, but compared to Queen and Slim and the other trauma porn movies that I absolutely can't stand, Two Distant Strangers was a beautiful, beautiful depiction of like what goes on in our head as black people, like on a day-to-day basis. Like it's literally a time loop of him every time he go outside, no matter what he do, he try to change up his path. It's like Groundhog Day, but like because he just keep experiencing the same thing, and like no matter what he do differently, he's going to die, like at the hands of a police officer. And that was like, it was so intense. Like, and the scarier part, this is probably completely unrelated, but it freaked me out because when I was watching it, there was a scene in the movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a scene in the movie where the officer gets a phone call from his mom. And every time the time loop happens, he gets a call from his mom, the white officer. And the day before I watched the film, I witnessed a high-speed chase on Mequon and Port Washington Road on my way home. And it was 5 black teenagers. And one got away, ran into the woods. The other 4, one of the young ladies was just like bleeding like crazy in handcuffs in the back of the police car. The other 3 was on stretchers getting into the ambulance. And I'm seeing all of this happen. And the police officer get a call from his mom. And it was so creepy that same kind of scene happened in real life when I was watching this situation. And then in the movie, and the way that it was happening, it just felt too real because I witnessed that situation. And they had the dogs out there, they had the rifles out there on these 15, 16-year-old kids. And yes, they was absolutely wrong for stealing a car and high-speed chase, but the way they handle black kids is just very, very traumatizing to witness. And it was at least like 20 or so white kids out there recording, laughing, having the time of their life, calling their friends on FaceTime. Like, look what we, experiencing in our neighborhood, like geeked about it.
It's the new, like, they used to lynch black people and then you leave them up so all the white people in the town can see. Like, this is the new way of showing that. Like, they can't. I ain't even gonna say that because they hung a teenager last summer. Like, he was at his own school. They hung him off a light pole, but like, that's just not the thing to do. But all the video recordings, us seeing ourselves die.
I don't know why do people do that. Like, I just don't like. Why would you record a dead body on the ground? Like, I you know, you see on Facebook and you see like somebody then got shot and people going on live like stuff like that. Like, what if that was your mama?
Social media had to be built up to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I think everything is a plan.
Like I've been in an accident before and it was really like,
imagine, like, think about how many people was outside that store when George Floyd got killed. Like, it was also multiple cops, yes, but think about how many people.
Like,
say, like, that group all looked at each other and said, fuck it, we finna mob them. Are those cops gonna shoot all of those citizens? I
always wonder that. Like, I always wonder what
in that situation, is that police department gonna take on that?
What do you think? Because that reminds me of when we out there protesting and we got a whole line of police officers and a whole line of citizens or black folks in Milwaukee.
I've never been in that situation.
Yeah, I've been on plenty standoffs but this past summer was the first time in my life I've ever experienced
I ain't
white
taking
people
on the police by myself.
Yeah.
But like I said, like, if we all look at each other like, hey, yo, he's kneeling on this man's neck, let's get him off. And it's 15, 20 of us, I think we can take on 3-4 cops.
I love to think that way, but this past summer when I was out there, we even had white people barricading us like in front of us so that the police are less likely to harm the white people as they right there. But even still, they was grabbing black women, arresting them, like, and all of us is standing right here willing to like go, but it's like in that moment they still got their guns drawn. They still like will be ready to shoot every single one of us down if we did retaliate. That's a scary part.
I think that situation is different because I honestly think when things like that happen, like in Minnesota, they closed everything down. Like they be ready. So when you see the National Guard in your city a week before something happens, they just camped out there. You know what I'm saying? They want you to riot. They want you to be in the streets protesting. So I think that's a different situation. I think these emergency situations is different. Like it's too it's so much watching and recording going on, and nobody cares about being recorded anymore.
That's just like with anything, just like with fighting, all that stuff. Like I feel like that type of stuff escalate the situation, or if it ain't no police around, and kind of pinpoint where you already at to kind of make it, This is a random question for y'all. How do y'all feel about the argument that people make? I see it a lot from white trolls on social media. Like if something happened, they get on the news articles and be like, "Y'all so mad, but what about black on black crime?" Like,
it's white on white crime. It's Asian on Asian crime. Like black on black crime is like
black on black crime is a product of the system.
Like that's something that they want.
I hate the argument.
Niggas hate each other because of a resentment. Black women have problems with black men because of resentment, and it goes the other way too. Like all those problems weren't there before white people came to Africa and start fucking our stuff up. Like that's honestly like we come from strong families, you know what I'm saying? So like all of that stuff is still a part of the system.
Fucking tribes, bro. Like let's keep it 100. Like that's what I'm like.
It's a great documentary out there. It's like a documentary. I said that ugly. Documentary. but
that's the African American.
Yeah, I shouldn't even correct myself. Y'all know what it is. But on HBO Max, it's called Exterminate the Brutes. And the brutes being us, but not, you know what I'm saying, like in a sarcastic way. It's a black director. He's African, but he grew up in New York. And it's like a docuseries. So I'm like halfway through it, and then you can like piece it up and watch it. But it's basically showing just like how white people from Europe started going out, and it's telling the real stories of how the colonization happened, and then also how the Haiti Revolution basically made the world what it is today. So it's real interesting, but it also gives a deep-rooted history on why white people feel they're superior, why the world looks like white people are superior, and how it kind of got to where we at today.
And my thing is like, if white people so superior, if they so this and so that, why they afraid
they
of
not
us?
they can't even be in the sun fam.
Like it's just
I seen that for real. I seen that first person. I was in Puerto Rico. I was with this dude, and like he was a family friend or whatever, but he was like literally his skin was cooking like bacon, like for real,
cooking
like hot
like
bubbles.
The grease though,
hot bubbles like 3rd-degree burns
grease.
off the sun. Like that's
how do y'all feel about us? Like I feel like I didn't have access to this information when I was younger. Well, I'm pretty sure it was like readily available, but like I didn't have as much consciousness as I do about a lot of these issues as I do now. And I'm curious to know, like, what do y'all feel about us having so much access? Do you think that it's by happenstance that like now we starting to be more aware and we have more access to these things? Like this plan that you mentioned, like all of this is part of a system, a part of like a plan. Like, what are your thoughts about like? Because before, like the interview that I was watching on the Breakfast Club today, back then I feel like that wouldn't have slid. Like you had to Google conspiracy theories and stuff like that on YouTube to try to find this kind of information. But now the information is just out there. Do y'all feel like they at a point where they think black people are
the
like
system
not
so strong, the information being out there don't matter?
That's what I think.
Yeah, I just want to know y'all thoughts on that.
Like it don't matter. Like it's gonna take a real. it's gonna take a real like. This gonna sound like it's outlandish to say, but it's not. Like either black people got to do what Jewish people and like all these other. I ain't gonna say like Latinos, but like in certain areas or certain places, probably not America, but Jewish people did it in America. They came together and was selfish. Asian people did it, and they said, fuck white people and everybody else. We're going to create our communities so we can sustain ourselves. Black people won't do that. That's one thing. Or it's just going to take the opposite of how we got here.
We all
but y'all heard what I said in the documentary,
saying,
right? That seems extreme, but
so you saying one of the options is to go back to Africa?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Or to
our option is to take their shit, make the world what we want it to be.
Jew revolution ready,
but it's not. But that's what I'm saying though. Like we are the approaches that people have had for 100 years. Have kept us in the same cycle, like, and I don't know, like, I guess, like, if you want to undo anything, you gotta go through that process, but in reverse. So how is we gonna get to being back to our superior selves as black people? We too unselfish too. We talking about we don't want to be more superior than every other way. So we just want to be equal. No, fuck that.
We too accommodating.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like we need to be at the top because that's the goal. Like you can't be an athlete and be like, shit, I want to be average. You ain't gonna make it to the NFL or the NBA. You gotta strive to be the best, or you just gonna come up short.
I get that, but I just really think they not gonna do nothing until it's their kids getting shot. Until these white kids and these.
But I think that's what Drew's saying. Are we waiting for white people to do something about it, or we gonna take initiative?
Kids and cops ain't gonna shoot white kids, and then black cops.
Come on, Tom.
Black
we got
cops
10
are
minutes
in the
left.
same system, and black cops damn sure ain't finna go shoot no white kids. So you know what I'm saying, like that.
I feel like if we get to shooting white kids, we getting the worst of the worst out of that shit. So
okay, so are y'all like? So people be talking about like abolish police. Do you think the police should?
But
be
killing
abolished?
we just talked about a whole bunch of killing white people.
We not saying
my white friends, my white people.
Hypothetically,
this is not the plan. Violence is not the plan or the answer.
Okay, we do not condone violence, but
if it gotta happen, then it gotta
I was about to say,
too.
well,
I mean, if it's necessary, I'm looking for violence.
I'd rather not have to raise my kids and explain to them that if they leave the crib, it's certain precautions and shit they gotta take to make it home safe.
Like on some Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Like if you run into this.
No, the best example is if you watch the movie The Hate You Give.
Yeah.
He literally gave her a whole
Run.
He gave her the black speech in the movie.
But when you got good black parents or protective black parents or parents that's been through stuff, that's what you gonna get. Like I got that same, you know what I'm saying? Like watching that movie, I got that same thing, and it still didn't save me for the 10 plus interaction. Yeah, it's never gonna save
the whole
you.
thing about it, it's not going to save you. It's just supposed to help avoid it from happening more often. The sad part is the person behind that badge, we don't know what kind of day they have. So for all we know, whatever frustrations that they're going through, what's ever going on at home, what happened in the office, what happened in the last time they pulled somebody over, that problem can trickle over to now this routine stop with you. What could have been a simple, hey bro, get your tail light fixed, here's a ticket, go handle that, can now turn into
Get out the car.
hey dog, your cigarette smell funny.
Yep. Literally.
Like,
literally.
And next thing you know, here's a whole escalated issue that didn't have to be, and it's all because that person wasn't in the right mind to be doing their current job.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I gotta say. Because I can literally take y'all whole show and throw another hour on it if y'all let me talk.
And I hate, like what you said, I hate when people justify police actions coming from the perspective of a citizen. And that's the argument that I was having earlier today. It's just like, yes, that's your perspective as a regular, everyday human citizen walking this earth. But when it comes down to police and how they should operate, they're supposed to protect protect us in the community and they don't, we justify it. Well, I would have did that too if that was me, but it's like that's not how they supposed to be thinking. Like that.
Okay, so on the police situation, there's a double caveat in regards to that. Okay, y'all don't want with mics, but there's a double caveat in regards to that. Number one, where people make their mistakes at is they feel like when you look at history and you see history talk about police, it's not the same thing. When you hear the stories of the Wild West and everything, you hear about the sheriff in town.
Mm-hmm.
That's the legal law enforcement person who's put in charge to protect. But when you think about policing didn't really become a thing until after Reconstruction, when white folks who lost their jobs because of all these black people could do their jobs better than them for less, they started regulating their own environment.
Facts.
I mean, the most known form of policing was the KKK,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still the same concept. So when they started creating their own neighborhood watch, which eventually turned into the city watch, which eventually then turned into what we now call the police department. And if you pay attention, the police department and the sheriff department are two different things.
Yep.
They don't even cross paths unless there's a particular crime that involves you got on the freeway.
Right.
Okay? So they don't cross paths because what we know as actual historical policing is sheriffs, not the people we have here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take into consideration that the police force was initially created
Facts.
to control niggas, now you can look at how the rules and regulations of what the police do, why they're so much more aggressive. But if you ever get pulled over by a sheriff on the freeway,
Yep.
you know, it's like, hey, bro,
They be
you
cool as a
driving
fan.
fast,
They be
bro,
cool as
here,
a fan.
man.
They don't want to
You
pull you
talking-
over.
Look, I don't want all
You
this
speaking
paperwork,
truth.
but bro, you was doing 20 over. I gotta give you this thing.
And you in the construction zone.
Right. Damn, now you getting more. And I'll see you at court in 3 months.
He was like, man, get that
And
situated.
then,
Bro, I got
exactly.
pulled
They
over
get
with
situated.
by a sheriff in the rental with no license.
Because
And
they
they
don't-
let
they
me
know
go.
how to. Their situations need to be handled a certain way. Okay. Whereas in police, we're always taught to be aggressive. You go into every situation aggressively. Okay.
And they
You
change
look at
that.
everything.
Their
Like
job-
you said-
their
like
jobs
you
is
said,
different.
Like my whole thing was when you pull up to a situation, the first thing you do is pull your gun out. How many times have you been put in a situation where you feel that was necessary? I don't think you've been into too many situations like that. For you to be scared of your life, how many times have you put in a situation
Facts.
where you damn near almost pissed yourself?
Or are you undertrained?
Now, here's the thing. Technical training, every police officer gets over 200 hours of actual technical training prior to before they actually are allowed on the street. Whereas they only get 8 hours of psychological training.
And that's the issue.
So you get 8 hours of de-escalation training.
Wow.
But I'll sit here for about a good month and a half and teach you how to bust these guns.
Wow.
So tell me where the disconnect is. There's really not one. They were meant to be aggressive. They've always meant to be aggressive. And the situation is when your record books have been created, your laws and your rules and regulations have been put in place to handle and control African Americans, why do you expect for them to be more sensitive to
That's
us?
true.
Yeah, you
Get me
had
together.
asked me about like with the Michaela Bryant situation, like why, basically like why did she or why did the cop shoot her and then like I don't know, like Tom, what was you just saying? I lost my train of thought.
You were saying how they.
I know where you going with it too because you helped me change my perspective when we was in the car. Not change my perspective, but like help me come down and more than just emotionally respond, really understand like the depth of the situation. So like I feel like I know where you getting at, but I don't know exactly what point you was trying to make.
You asked me a question, and I think it was about how I feel like it was her disability.
Yeah, her mental health. Yeah.
So you said that you heard that she might have been on the spectrum of having autism, and that was going to be my response. Is what Tone said is like, cops aren't trained to de-escalate or to know like how do I deal with somebody with a disability or that's slower or like shit. You like somebody that's in special ed. Like I work with special ed kids. Somebody that's in special ed can process information slower, right? They go through school, graduate, work a normal job, live a normal life, is married, has kids. You don't know that this person processes slower. You know what I'm saying? So again, Tone just explained like the de-escalation part is not given to them for a reason. Like they not meant to pull up and
and
let
I
me
think,
figure out what's going on.
And that's the issue.
That's what I was about to say. That's the point that I kept trying to make. That is like, that's the way it is, but it shouldn't be that way. That's the point I was trying to make to my auntie. Like, it may be that way, but it shouldn't be that way.
They should do. This is the number one way that you can fix 97% of the policing issues. Number one, police should never be your first responders. You should actually create a division and a task force that handles first response situation in a non-lethal manner. Majority of the time when people pull up, when I mean non-lethal, meaning you don't need a firearm. We've always had things. You've had billy clubs. You've had tasers. You have low lethal de-escalation weaponry if you need to defend yourself.
Facts.
Once you've gotten to a point where you feel like the situation has escalated beyond a simple break up a conversation or move the crowd from one place to the next, then at that point, that's when a more aggressive task force is needed. Okay? But it has to literally be listed, and you have to meet certain criteria. I get it. You might roll over to Ray house. Ray see the cops. He start busting because he know he got 12, keys in the back. Completely different situation. I understand that's the situation you fear for the most. But I guarantee you, if it's a domestic violence situation, you don't need to come with the AKs. You don't. You should know when that dispatcher tells you what the situation is. You should already know within that situation how aggressive this situation needs to be. Yes, there may be a large man beating on his wife. Maybe 4 of y'all need to go, but you still go in a non-lethal manner. Okay? Unless you see that this person has a weapon and he's using deadly force, then at that point in time, you bring one lethal form. Not everybody needs to have it.
I just don't understand.
I'm sorry. And then it's just like...
And we need to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up. But I really just think it's just like... These police officers, they first thing is to pull out their gun. That's like a practice that they have, or I don't know what they go in school, but it's
not a practice. It's now second nature.
It's second nature.
Think about it.
Yeah.
200 hours of tactical training. Meaning it comes second nature to pop it with a thumb, grab it, and now you have it out.
Right.
In a swift motion.
Yeah, because it's I don't care what type of instances with the police is. No one deserves to die, whether they're young, old, crippled, if they beat, whatever it is. I feel like it's more ways to de-escalate an issue, a problem, or do all that without killing someone. I feel like it's no way, rhyme or reason where you can justify killing someone. Because if you're calling the police, if you're calling 911, you're trying to save someone's life. I seen it was a video about this lady. They got they was getting the man pulled a gun out on them. It was a black man and his wife, and they was in a conversation with a white man. He pulled a gun out them, and she stopped him at the door before they. Mind you, her husband is having this man hold down to the gun because he was trying to pull a gun on him. She was like, "I'm not letting y'all in here if y'all don't kill my husband." The fact that she had to stop the police before they came in there to tell them, "If I let y'all in here, please do not kill my husband."
Look, the thing about it is, police have restraint when they want to have it.
Right.
How many times have we seen videos on the internet where there's a white guy who clearly is completely out of line? I've watched videos where a white cop had her gun pointing at a dude, and this dude is literally threatening her, chasing her around the car. It was clearly a moment where popping him in his leg would have solved the problem. You wouldn't have been wrong. At that point in time, you are physically fearful of your life. The same excuse you use when you do these things, you are physically in this moment. I have seen times where there is a crazy white guy on the street and y'all are able to rustle him down and be okay.
Yes.
So you have these moments when you can hold back from what you're doing.
They just choose not to.
And I get it. Every situation every cop is not that cop. Okay? But it's a simple fact of with social media being able for us to see it on so many levels, we're now realizing it's happening more often than it's not. That's the big difference now compared to before. Because when the Rodney King situation happened, we was like, oh my God, what the fuck did he do to deserve that?
And mind you,
now realizing that's just their norm, and we're now seeing it. Fast forward to now it's like every single day you turn on the TV, here's a new name to add to the list.
So you saying a 16-year-old girl take 4 shots to the back, is
wrong.
No, it's wrong. But I'm saying compared to seeing Rodney King, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, he got sent to the hospital. You know what I'm saying?
She got sent to heaven.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's way different now.
Mm-hmm.
They was like, damn, he got beat up really bad.
Now we like, damn, they gone.
But not even like, fam, we seeing videos of kids or people being killed, and it's just like again, that day she got killed was the day of the trial. I don't want to see that shit. I'll just scroll right past it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody not
just
stopping to look at it. Or,
and I want to highlight what she said. She said if they're able to be a certain way with white people, then they're able to be a certain way with black people. No more excuses.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's like it's no excuse.
Shout out to Sarah.
Yeah, for real. Like, but yeah,
it's all good.
It's all good. But I feel like we still had a good conversation. An important, very necessary conversation, though.
Unfortunately, we'll double back.
Yeah, we're gonna double back for sure.
Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Wolfpack 258. Anything else y'all want to say before we close out and wrap it up?
Y'all
tune in next week for sure. We got another great important convo.
Yes.
April was Sexual Awareness Month, so we're gonna come in fresh in May with a sexual awareness episode. So y'all be ready and stay tuned for that.
And we got a special guest coming in. So
Our first
special guest. So
it's a secret.
It's a secret. So, but y'all,
and it's not
we
Tone.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like always, y'all stay safe, stay prayed up, and we hope for y'all have a productive week.
Peace.
Peace and love.
Peace.